Alright, as you're talking about slope this year, you're going to see it in several different forms. Sometimes you'll see it on a graph, sometimes you'll just get points, but sometimes you're going to get a table. So what I want to talk about right now is I want to talk about how to find that slope when you find a table. Now if you notice, the example I have here says find the rate of change. That's because the rate of change and the slope are going to have the same value in most all situations. They have different meanings slightly because slope is talking about the ratio of a vertical change to a horizontal change on a line, where rate of change is more for our application problems, but the values will be the same. So to find rate of change or slope, we need to remember the formula delta y over delta x, where I'm taking my change in y and dividing it by my change in x. To do this, I say we look outside the table because I want to look for my change that happens outside for my delta y and my change that happens outside for delta x. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, what did I do to get from 4 down to 8? Now some people would want to say multiply by 2. Be careful because with changes I always want to add or subtract. So really what I'm doing is I'm adding 4, and then from 8 to 12 I'm adding 4 again. If I look over my x's, I'm 1 plus 1 is 1 and 2 plus 1 is 3. So now I have a delta y and a delta x. I can then come over to the side and say, alright, let's plug that into my formula. I take my delta y and I divide it by my delta x, which is 1, and I have a slope of 4. My rate of change is 4, so my slope is 4. So I can say that m equals 4 because m is the variable we use for our slope. And that's as simple as it is. Now I want to show you one more example where things may look a little bit different. So say we have a table like so. We're still going to be looking for our same formula of delta y over delta x. So I'm going to come again and I'm looking outside of the table. That's where I look for when I find slope. From 5 to 9 I'm adding 4. From 9 to 11 I'm only adding 2. So interesting. I see that they're different. Well, let's keep going. For my x's I add 6, and then from 12 to 15 I add 3. So they're different. Well, what I want to do is I want to check both of these. So I'm going to check the first one. Now, 4 and 6 are going to go together because those are the same row. We're looking at the same change. So I'll do 4 divided by 6, and that's going to get me a change of 2/3. Now, if I check that on the second row and do 2 divided by 3, 2 divided by 3, well, I can already see, wait a second, these are both 2/3. If you plug these into your calculator, you would get the 0.66 repeating, but we'll just change that to our fraction of 2/3. So what I wanted to show you here, doesn't matter if our numbers aren't the same on the side. If there is a slope for this line and it's linear, which most of the ones we'll look at will be, you're looking for what is that rate of change, and that's going to be our slope. So delta y over delta x.